Hello.
Oh, so sorry about that. We made
Sorry.
it. We're here today. It's
Yes,
great to be
we
here.
made it.
Thank you.
It-
Yeah, appreciate the patience, everyone.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks for. So I'm technically quite challenged. So the fact that we're here now is a really good thing. So Dr. Christopher, you are head of Harmony and the head of research at Landkind. But do you want to give yourself a better introduction than what I'm probably going to?
sure. Um, yeah. So first, Georgia or G, thank you so much for having me on here. Really happy to talk with you today. Yeah. So as you mentioned, my name is Chris Vickery. I'm currently heading the research at Landkind, and at the parent company, I'm head of the technology platform at DoubleRainbow Biosciences. That's really behind the science that's responsible for making this recycling. So I'm a biochemist by training, so a lot of my past research experience really lends itself to the type of research and technological advances that we're making at Double. And I'm just really excited to see how, in my about 4 years here, how we've really gone from concept now to product, and really excited to see how we continue to go in the future.
Yeah, me too. I'm so happy to be part of it. So can you tell me and us a little bit about your Landkind experience?
Uh, yeah, sure. So again, I've been part of Double Rainbow for a while, and there has really been working towards natural products and finding ways to make them and really make them available to consumers, to everyone, without harming the planet. And so I think for me this is really exciting, again, application of all the scientific work that I've done and all the things that I'm really passionate about. And just really excited to see it again implemented in this kind of way, and so happy to be able to say that we have this product available, and yeah, again, happy to have people like yourself and as ambassadors.
Well, I love to use it. I love the product. And what I was going to say is I'm not a scientist, obviously. I know about the product because obviously I think it's important to know about product before you take it. But if you could explain in kind of a way that people understand synthetic biology and which Symbio platform is behind Landkind and the supplement.
Sure, yeah. So yeah, again, apologize if I get a little nerdy here, but I'm super passionate about the whole field and how it's grown over the past 5 or 10 years. So I think synthetic biology is a very broad term. It can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but I think when I talk about, or we talk about synthetic biology, we're really talking about an engineering problem or an engineering effort. So what we're doing is we're actually engineering biological systems, hence the term bioengineering, and engineering these biological systems to make things, to manufacture things that we're interested in making. And so, the whole principle behind synthetic biology is that if we see something that we can find in nature, whether it's a molecule or something like that, that is giving us desirable properties, like solidroside or even caffeine. Synthetic biology is really interested in understanding first how it's made in nature. So how does this plant make solidroside? It's a great question. So the first thing we want to do is try to figure out how the plant's making it. And once we understand all the tools that the plant uses, what kind of enzymes and things that are in the plant that lets it make solidroside, we can then identify those and take them out and put them into basically a factory, really a cell factory, to make those molecules. We're taking things like baker's yeast, so a very common organism that is used to make beer, bread, and things like that. We can actually provide it with the tools that we know are required for making solidroside, for making some molecules. But then what we have now is we have this yeast strain that we can grow up, can grow very quickly, and basically have it produce these molecules, just like a factory, which we can then purify and use as our product. So, in the context of what we're doing, that's what really synthetic biology means to us. It's really, again, understanding how something is made in nature, transplanting it into some way we can utilize it and make it faster and more efficiently, and then use that as our product. So hopefully,
it makes sense just about. I can understand it the way you're explaining it. The first time I heard all of this, it did make a little to no sense to me, but I'm on board now. I'm there.
I mean, I've been studying this for 8 years, and I still am trying to figure it out. So it's no problem. Yeah.
So one of the reasons I particularly was like really wanted to try Landkind was because of the connection to Vikings. So there is some research to suggest that Vikings use rhodiola plant to kind of stave off fatigue and give them more energy. And I know there are some other supplements on the market that use rhodiola, but what is the kind of standout difference with Landkind's LK01, like the Landkind difference?
Right. Yeah. So it says on the label pure solidroside. So absolutely, it's I think in general, Landkind really draws on that kind of information, that kind of history, right? Of exactly, Vikings didn't use this. Why did they use it? To stave off their fatigue. But now we're asking, what specifically from the rhodiola plant is responsible for that kind of effect that they were getting? And so, what sets us apart is we're really honing in on the very specific ingredients. One thing that we know is responsible for that. And so with that, we don't have to worry about anything else that's coming along with the plant itself. We don't have to worry about harvesting the plant. Since we know exactly what part of the plant is important for that effect, we can then take that, make it a different way where we don't have to worry about over harvesting. We don't have to worry about anything like that. So in that sense, you're getting a very pure compound. Just solidroside, and it's going to give you that same effect. Along that comes with consistency. So, the recommended dose is 60 milligrams solidroside per day. For sure that in each of those doses, you're going to get exactly 60 milligrams. And we feel that's really important, and really kind of a focus of us is to make sure that when you're experiencing something like LK01, you're going to get the same experience each time. So if you order a package today and you order a package a year from now, they're going to be the same, and you're going to have the same effect. You don't have to worry about a batch being off or something like that.
Which I didn't realize that was a thing, like, until I started chatting to the Landkind team, that actually with normal supplements, there's not necessarily any consistency within, like, some can be a weird, dodgy batch.
Exactly, yeah, and it's hard to tell. There's really no, for example, for drugs, we have FDA that's going to say, okay, your drug has to be this. And, unfortunately, a lot of times there isn't anything like that for supplements. So, having a batch that's off, who's going to bring that up? Who's going to discover that? It's really difficult. So we really want to make it, one of our missions to make sure, again, it's going to be the same amount each time. It's going to be held to our extremely high, purity and safety standards. So again, like you mentioned, it's consistently getting the same effect each time.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me on to my next kind of point in question, which is obviously we're all trying to make a difference to the positive impact on the planet. I think, in whatever way we can, it's important to be making steps towards like protecting our environment, and obviously that's something that Landkind really stand firmly in, that they are trying to leave the ecosystems alone. So can you explain how Landkind's unique bioengineering protects the planet and the the wellness of people?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start with the people. As I mentioned, we're really committed to purity and ensuring there's nothing else coming through in the process, so that you're taking the solidroside product, you're getting solidroside. And so, we really ensure that we're holding ourselves again to extremely high standards, so that anything that we are offering is going to be absolutely safe. But yeah, as far as protecting the planet, one of the reasons we want to continue with products like solidroside is that the plants that they come from are endangered. They're very hard to isolate, and already there's issues with overharvesting of the natural supply, really, of rhodiola. So rhodiola grows in very harsh conditions, very high altitudes, and so there's really not a lot of places where you can actually get it. And so very quickly, as rhodiola is becoming a more popular supplement, we're very quickly dwindling those kind of natural, really habitats of rhodiola. And so being able to, again, have all of the desirable effects from rhodiola without even having to touch the plant is really, really key to us. And the thing that comes to my mind is the parable of, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man a fish. So instead of, getting a fish, which is isolating the plant, we're instead learning from the plant itself of how it makes solidricide. So again, just by looking at all of the enzymes and tools it uses, we can then learn from that, and now we've implemented that in our system to really produce the solidricide without having to harm the natural environment.
And that's interesting to me, because when I first started working with you guys, I assumed it was from the plant, just from like reading, about it. I was like, oh, that makes sense. And you guys were like, no, we definitely don't do that. We're leaving it in its natural environment, which is obviously a great thing. So is it true that like other vitamins and supplements currently on the market don't contain their promised levels of bioactive ingredients? Because I know we speak a lot about bioactive ingredients like within the company. And
yeah, so again, I think what's important to address here is, again, the idea of consistency. And I think there's two ways to think about it. One, of course, is, as we talked about before, having a consistent amount of the bioactive molecule that you want is sometimes an issue. So for example, certain crops, even plants grown in different locations around the world, are going to have, completely different amounts of everything in them, just based on their environment, based on how long they're grown. So there's huge variability here. And I think, again, we really want to eliminate that kind of variability. So you're getting, a consistent kind of effect and feeling when you're taking the LPO1 product. But I think, at the same time, we have to think about how other supplements are made, specifically plant extract. So let's say we have a plant extract that has solidricide in it, but we want, a certain amount of solidricide per dose. If the plant only has a little bit, that means we have to use a lot of extract for each dose. And so with all that extract comes extra stuff that, may not be desirable, may even affect how solidricide is acting in your body. And so, again, having that consistency is eliminating not only variability in how much solidricide you're getting, but also how much other stuff you're getting as well. And so with this, we don't have to worry about that at all. And again, delivering, this pure and consistent product.
And then to get such a pure and consistent product, what is the testing approach that Landkind takes? And there are third-party testing and certifications given out to other supplement brands. What's the truth behind all that stuff? It's all very. This is quite complicated for me. I would say this is the stuff that I never quite understand.
Sure. Yeah. Certainly, and I would say certainly within the supplement realm, a lot of that is voluntary. So if a company is going to test their stuff, it's going to be because they want to show that their stuff is pure. It's what it is, what they say it is. And so, we've really gone the extra mile. I'm really, happy with how we've approached this kind of issue. One thing we have done is we've pursued a program called GRAS, which stands for Generally Recognized as Safe. So this is kind of a package that we put together to show that our product is safe enough, it's pure enough to actually be considered, a molecule that could potentially be added to food. So GRAS is actually what they require for things that will enter food, like sugar or any kind of ingredients that will go into the food supply. So we're already holding ourselves to an extremely high standard. And along with that comes with, like you mentioned, testing. So on our manufacturing side, we're testing every batch to make sure we're meeting these purity standards, which is not just purity, but free from any contaminants that come along with the process. We also outsource to a third party and test in-house for each batch that we make. So we really want to be careful and make sure that we're adhering to our specifications each time. And if we're not, then that won't be part of something that we'll offer. So really trying to hold our standards as high as we can. And I think one thing, again, as scientists, we want to also show, that a molecule is effective. And so we've just recently completed a human clinical study that it does exactly that. It really showcases the efficacy of LKO1. I think it's absolutely important to have experiences and share how others feel. But again, as a scientist, I love data and I want to see the graphs and all the data behind it. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Is we're seeing that it's doing exactly what we wanted to do. We're really excited about that.
Yeah, and I think it's really, like, as a consumer of something, to know that it's been you guys are really rigorous with all the testing, and I think I'm very health conscious. So to me, that is a big selling point, that you guys, are kind of going above and beyond, with that element of your product, which I think is amazing. So I got some questions from my fans. So let's read them. So one lady said, I started weight training in the gym around 2 months ago. I'm eating a lot now, but I still find myself quite fatigued and prone to napping any occasion available. I can relate to you. Do you find LK01 pure solidified reduces this or aids general stimulus for the day? Thank you. So I can certainly say that one of the reasons I reached out to Landkind is because I am like a prolific napper. Like, I can nap standing up any time of the day, probably since I first started doing Vikings. If I had 10 minutes off, like in between takes, and I needed to sleep because I'd been up since 3 a.m., I would sleep anywhere. And that's definitely carried like through my life. Like, I would always eat lunch, and around 2 o'clock I would need to sleep. Like, I would sleep for probably an hour and a half, which is, I'm 28 years old and I've been napping since I was 24. Like, it's not quite right. And usually I'm not really a caffeine drinker. So I was really curious to see if this would make a difference to me. And I have not napped a single time in the day since taking Landkind, like not once. And my fitness and endurance is, I mean, I told you, we spoke the other day, I ran a 5K, the fastest I've ever ran it since October. I've shaved off about 8 minutes of my time. I mean, crazy.
And and it's great. We love hearing things like that, because in our minds we know this is going to be extremely helpful to people. And again, just hearing stories like yours is really, I guess, say fulfilling, to know that all this work that we put into this is really helping people and making a difference. Yeah, I think, again, to be the nerdy scientist in the room, it's exciting to again hear these stories and really again see in these clinical trials that we do see exactly what we hope. And to the point of fatigue, that was actually one of the metrics that we tested, something called fatigue inertia, which certainly everyone, I'm sure, has felt, where you feel more and more tired throughout the day. And that was certainly something that we saw, a reduction in that fatigue inertia. People were able to continue to be active much longer than they were without. So, yeah, great question.
Yeah, it's made a big impact to my life, which is amazing. Someone else asked, Georgia, how do you take LK01 pure solidified? For me, it sort of depends on the day. If I feel particularly stressed or wired and nervous, I might just take 1 in the morning instead of 2 supplements. And that will get me through the day. I'll still feel super energized. If I feel exhausted or I've had a big night, I'll take 2 in the morning. And then some days I feel energized in the morning, so I don't take anything. And it might get then to around sort of 1 o'clock, and I think I'm getting that tired thing. And I can take 2 and it will completely stave off needing to nap or needing to sleep. Like, for me, the results are completely instant. Which I think you guys have said research wise, right? Like, you pretty much feel the effects from your first time taking LK01.
Yeah. And honestly, as well my own experiences, certainly, yeah, there's no kind of, time period that you have to begin taking. You'll certainly feel it when you start.
Okay, and then someone says, this is a question for you, probably. Does LK01 pure solidroside help with hormone balance?
Yeah, again, it's a great question. And I would say certainly not something that our team has fairly evaluated. But what I will say, and it's something, again, I'm very excited about, is that with this manufacturing process that we've developed to produce solidroside in a very pure form, we really feel that it's going to enable further clinical studies and trials that will help understand exactly how solidroside can benefit people. So, certainly we've already done trials already, but again, having access to this pure compound is really going to facilitate those kind of studies, whether it's ourselves or collaborators that will also run those. So really understanding how solidroside can help people in any way it can is certainly something we hope to pursue in the future.
Amazing. Someone says, does Landkind ship around the world? Yes, it does. There's international shipping. Check out their website, which is www.landkind.health, and have a look there if you guys want to make an order. At the end of this, I'm going to give you guys a little discount, but we'll talk about that at the end. Someone else says, what kind of dietary restrictions does LK01 adhere to? And vegan, vegetarian, ketogenic, ketogenic?
Yeah.
I don't know how to that. I don't actually know what that is. Gluten-free, and it works with intermittent fasting. So I'm actually celiac. So I always look with my supplements for ones that adhere to my dietary restrictions, and it's kind of available for everyone, to be honest, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, that was one of our goals too, is to make sure that again, whoever thinks they will benefit from this will have access to it. Exactly.
Which is amazing. Okay, and then someone says, what should I expect with my first subscription? And basically, you guys have a refilling system, so you can do monthly or you can do quarterly. And basically, when you sign up, you're going to basically get a discount even if you do it monthly or quarterly, or you're going to save money up to 45%. And the package is basically, you get a jar. The first time you order, you get a glass jar, and then with your refills, you get compostable pouches, basically. So you get your supplement pills in there. So it's good for the planet and less wasteful, basically. And I am gonna say that if any of you guys want to ask any questions, it's one of those tricky ones where it's quite sciencey, so a lot of people may not want to ask anything on the live. So if no one does, that's fine. And if it's all going to be Vikings related, I'm not going to answer those questions today. But if you do have questions, any of you, people, come on, let's keep it PG. If anyone does have questions about the supplement, then feel free to DM me, and I'm happy to do a separate Q&A after this about anything we talked about here. So I'll reshare this on my page so people can see it. So I can offer everyone 50% off your first order. So I'm going to leave my share a sale in my bio for you guys to have a look at, and you guys can shop it. And thank you so much, Dr. Vickery, for chatting to me all things science.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. And, again, thanks to everyone else for tuning in. It was great to be able to share, something that I'm passionate about, and, again, have been working, on for years, and to be able to share with all you is really special. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for, it's just a great product. I love it. I believe in it. So, so I'm excited to keep kind of spreading the word about Landkind.
Yeah. It's, again, great to have you on board, and great chatting with you today. Thanks so much.
So much. I'll speak to you soon, and bye everyone. Thanks for joining.
Yeah.